Good morning, and thank you. Hi, I'm Sheriff Danny H. Rogers of the Guilford County Sheriff's Office. And this is another segment of Coffee with the Sheriff. Today's guest is Captain N.Triche with the Guilford County Sheriff's Office. He is our school resource officer captain in that division. Good morning, Captain.
Good morning, Sheriff. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Now, you've been here, what, 19 years, 20 years?
20 years, Sheriff.
20 years, 20 years. How do you feel being here with the Sheriff's Office 20 years and just tell me a little bit about it. Tell me a little bit about the history of it.
Well, it's been a privilege. I actually joined the Guilford County Sheriff's Office through a scholarship program called the Police Corps program. Back in 1999, as a senior in high school, I was applying for a scholarship, and it's similar to the North Carolina Teaching Fellow Scholarship, where you're given a scholarship to get you through undergrad in return for a commitment for years of service. And as part of that program that I worked with my own SRO that I was in school with, was selected for it and then was matched with Guilford County Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
So as I was going through college, I was coming to the Guilford County Sheriff's Office to do ride-alongs. I did my internship through Guilford County Sheriff's Office, and then when I graduated and got through basic law enforcement training, I started with Guilford County Sheriff's Office back in 2004, and I've been here ever since.
And Sheriff Barnes brought you in, so that was a good move on Sheriff Barnes' move. I think he was my sheriff. I was sheriff for 24 years, and I will always give him the due credit for that, what he's done for this county. The School Resource Officers Program that you oversee now, you have what, 16?
We have 14 SROs in 7 high schools and 7 middle schools here in the county, and then I have a great sergeant that keeps us all in line.
Yeah, Sergeant Fee. You know, it's interesting because when I come into the office, it was more so playing a chess game for a little bit. Everybody trying to learn everybody, and everybody trying to make sure that nobody stepped over here. I try to make sure I didn't step over, you know, all kind of stuff. But even in the process of that, growing and learning each other, life was still happening. School shootings were going on throughout the country. SRO officers or deputies were dealing with on-site issues. You know, mental health was doing its thing, whether it was doing it with the students, the staff of the schools, or whatever the situation may have been. We still had to put things in place, and we had to take off running, you know. But, you know, one of the things that I like about our school resource unit is that the teaching, the training that you all go through now, I'm sure it was probably done before we got here, but it seems like it's a little bit more intense now, a little more intentional about studying or practicing or training on certain things. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So school resource officers, in a lot of ways, are the most fundamental type of community-oriented policing. They are individuals that have almost like their own little city that they're responsible for. They're on foot patrol, and they are dealing with all the big and little things that happen in their school. And consequently, they need to be some of our most well-trained deputies because they're dealing with everything. And they're interacting with the parents and the staff and the students, and that's really the first call that comes in is somebody in the school that needs help. They come a-running, and it's important for them to be ready to handle whether it's a complex legal issue or just mentoring, everything in between. So we really focus on making sure we take advantage of any breaks in the school calendar to get them the best possible training and to keep them sharp because they are that point person, and they are the individual that so many of those students and those parents, that's the law enforcement officer they interact with the most. So they're forming all their opinions about what the Guilford County Sheriff's Office is like and what all of American law enforcement is like, based on that individual, and they have a huge responsibility to represent us all well.
You know, we've seen things that have gone on throughout our country. And one of the things that I like the idea is making sure that our deputies or SRO officers are not only just equipped in training, but mentally and physically fit and equipped. Because it may, although it has not presented itself here in our great county, doesn't mean that it won't. Our goal is to make sure that we'll be able to be aggressive and do what we need to do to get rid of the threat or whatever the situation may be. But even though we have not experienced it here, pray that we do not, it's still yet, it wears on me as a sheriff or a director or a leader to watch it go around the country. And you wonder, what is it that we could have done better to being able to acknowledge or catch it before it hit head on, versus with not being progressive about it, versus having to react is what I'm looking for. So the reaction piece of it is also important.
Sure. And the biggest thing that helps our SROs, because in general there's one SRO in each of our high school, middle schools, but even though they're the only Guilford County Sheriff's Office deputy in that location, they're part of a broader team. They're working with the schools from the moment our students enter those schools. They're being met by a staff member that's wishing them good morning. They're going through the scanning process. From the entire course of the day, they've got those caring adults that are part of the school system, reaching out to them, seeing if everything's okay, and that is the broad team that our SROs are a part of. As much as we would like to train supermen and superwomen, what really keeps our kids safest is being part of a broad, strong team. And we're honored that our SROs are trusted to be part of that team along with the Guilford County Schools.
Being a support team, a major support factor,
yes, sir,
is key. When we think about the men and women who teach our youth, who oversee, the men and women who oversee those that are teaching our youth, the part of being a resource officer, we have to look at that too. Make sure they're in good shape. Make sure they're not dealing with something. Be there for them as well. You know, mentor, the school resource unit is such a delicate and a huge piece of today's society when it comes to the schools and institutions that our children are being educated in. You know, one of the things that I do like, and I've heard many people talk about, is that my son or daughter were going through a crisis, and deputy so-and-so was there to listen to them and help direct them back around to where I was able to become a part of the solution as well. Because children are known, I did it. I don't know if you did it or not, but I did it. I would shut everybody out as a young teenager and felt like I could handle it all on my own. And no one knew, honestly, that I was going through a teenage up and down, or better yet, a mild depression. Teenagers go through depression. They go through things that cause them, because they're trying to find their way. And people think that if they ask a question or they act some kind of way, that they're special. Well, they all are special in our way, in the way we love them. But the key thing to it is to find out what is really wrong. You know, I tell people, you've heard me say it, I believe, hear your children, listen to your children. When you listen to them, it's amazing on some of the things that they will tell you. And the deputies are there for that. They do that. How's that working out? What's the recoil back from the deputy? What's the boomerang back from the deputies?
So I think what we see with our SROs is they are one of those safe places for kids to go, because different kids have different types of adults, different roles that adult leadership plays that they'll gravitate towards. You're going to have some kids that the coach is that life-changing person in their life. You've got some kids that have incredibly close relationship with their parents, and they can go to anything, go to their parents about anything. You've got other kids who maybe it's a club advisor, maybe it's a teacher of their favorite subject. For some of those kids, it's their school resource officer. So we help provide that broad net so that kids can figure out who they need to reach out to. And then once they've reached out to that caring adult engages all the other people that care about that kid in their life, and go ahead and make sure that they have everything they need. Maybe it's just a little bit of encouragement, maybe it's something a lot deeper, but we are there to be one of those people that our students can go to make them safe in all the ways that being safe means.
I'm very grateful for that. I really am. I'm grateful for your leadership. You know, we've had captains and people retire. You're going to be here for a while, so that's a great thing. But, you know, it's captains that have been in the position with the leadership and talking and meeting people throughout the school system, or better yet, the quote-unquote our great county that we have. But I found it to be very instrumental when the youth are more inclusive with conversations with our SROs or our deputies that come through, or the command team. And I have people that talk to me as well. And I tell people it's important to understand the boundaries of where we should be when it comes to our youth. Let's talk a little bit about that. So I have a student or a kid that is 13, 15 years old that have become befriended me, but want to talk to me about anything, which is pretty decent, which is good, as long as it's clean and all. But there has to be some boundaries somewhere when we can talk, or how we talk, or when we talk. I mean, talk to me a little bit about that.
Sure. I think students of all ages, but especially teenagers, are trying to figure out what appropriate boundaries are with the adult leaders in their life, with their parents, and we're trying to model those for them. They're, for example, teachers that have such a big heart for their students, but if they are put in a situation where they are working not just past the end of the school day, but working deep into the night, trying to do new activities for them, or find an extra program that they can do with a kid, they can really burn the candle at both ends. Having that appropriate work-life balance is not just something that's good for our SROs and our teachers and our school staff, but it's something good to model for those kids, so that they understand that people can care about us, people want the best for us, but they're not serving the same function as my best friend. My best friend is a certain type of relationship. My relationship with my parents is a different type of relationship. My relationship with my mentors is a different type of relationship. Each of those are important. Each of them help us grow into the people that we're going to become. But that having the proper work-life balance helps those folks stay well themselves and make sure that they can have long-lasting careers, because I think we've definitely heard stories about folks who cared so much and then just completely burned themselves out and weren't there for that next class of students that was coming through. So it's something to be aware of, and something good to model for our kids, because some of these kids are going to grow up to be SROs
That's
grow
it.
up to be teachers.
Yeah, that's right.
And we want to model good things for them. And I know this is a topic that you're interested in. Would you mind telling me about how you got involved with the Task Force for Safer Schools?
Wow. You know, this interesting piece was that I think it has been just a part of my going to the schools and making sure that I got a chance to see and hear the youth. That part of being engaged and getting a part of it, when I was asked about sitting on the task force team, I said, sure. You know, and I'm thinking, you know, what do I have to offer? Well, you know, one of the first things I think I have to offer is to hear, to listen, and to listen to the community. And it's been a good job. I think this is my second year being involved with the task force team.
And that's not just for Guilford County, that's for all of North Carolina.
They're all in North Carolina. So, you know, being the sub-chair for the emergency management piece of it for the schools this go around was a huge task for me. I thank you for being who you are and helping guide and lead me through many things. I tell people, you know, just because you have a title about something doesn't mean that you have all the answers, you know? And so we will find ways to help better serve and protect our schools, and that's our goal, better serve and protect our schools through the staffing and the visitors that are coming on, our students that are there. One of the things I'm looking forward to is to be able to someday have access to the camera footage of all the schools within our district, the school district. And the reason being, not wanting the access to the restrooms and stuff like, but the access to the common areas, because that will help us be able to better serve and protect. If something, God forbid, if something happens, we'll be able to dispatch the footage right into the MCTs, where the deputies that are en route or those of us that's going to be doing what we need to get done can pull it up and look at and see what's going on, being able to purposely follow the perpetrator. You know, now that we have the scanners walking in as you're walking in the schools, kids are smart. They still find ways to get stuff in. You know, that's why SROs, I love the training and what we do. Thank you all very much. Once again, I can't thank you enough. But that's why SROs must be nosy. Deputies must be nosy. You know, so you can see and hear a lot. Not that you're going to catch it all, but you can see and hear a lot, you know. So, but the task force part of it has been interesting. It's been great. I've learned a lot from Director Lassiter, and just being around and listening to people throughout the state that have brought some great ideas on how to interact and bring safer ways to help protect our youth in the schools. There's always a copycat somewhere, and we hate that, but that's unfortunate. It's like that, you know. And our goal is to be ready to be on point as much as we can to eliminate any type of nonsense or threat, you know. I just come out of a school with over 19 more sheriffs throughout the nation. 3 of them have been involved. I'm like, wow, you know, and listen to them telling this stuff, it'd be like, you can never be too prepared.
Well, and one of the roles we have the SROs fulfill is being someone not only that has the knowledge about the best practices for keeping our schools safe, but is also sharing that knowledge with the other staff members and the parents and the students. In terms of the things that keep our schools safe, it is not just something a individual Superman or Superwoman can do, but with everyone within the school working together. That's why our SROs are very vocal about using the report, don't repost method of making sure these kids who are very plugged into different types of social media sharing realize that it's not beneficial to see something that is either a threat or even just a suspicious or concerning post and then just share it as broadly as possible. The way that we help keep folks safe is for them to take that concerning image and immediately report it to a staff member, report it to a school resource officer, or if for whatever reason they or their parents aren't comfortable with that, reporting it to the Say Something website. And I believe we'll have the link to that website underneath this video.
Okay.
That is a great way of immediately, and it's monitored 24/7, immediately triggering the investigation that lets us look into these either threatening posts or threatening images or just concerning images and determine whether or not there's a credible threat, because it is possible just with the viral way that things spread online for something from the other side of the country to work its way here, oftentimes by people acting in good faith, just sharing it because they think that's what they're supposed to do. And in reality, it's something that has nothing to do with our school system. And once we're able to investigate that, we're able to determine the origin of that and get the word out to our parents that this threat or concerning statement is not credible, so that everyone feels much more comfortable and safe bringing their kids on to school. That it gets hindered a lot if before it's ever reported, it's shared 100 times or 1,000 times.
Well, you know, the goal is to make sure that we can bring the proper information, make sure that we can eliminate, like you're saying, things that need to be shared, and those things that are valid, that we can let people know that, you know, what needs to be done and what's going on. It's just so much. We could talk on and on and on, but I do want to address this here, and when we'll be done with it, we'll kind of lead ourselves through, you know, is making sure that we recognize the different mental health challenges that many of our youth, or all of our youth that comes to school, that are either bus riders, drive to school themselves, or their parents bring them to school, or they walk to school. You know, but nevertheless, we want to make sure that we get a chance to nurture and mentor to our youth, and our officers or deputies are in good shape, being able to do the same thing, not bringing their home issues to the building, you know, because they also have things that they deal with, and the teachers have their own things they deal with. So it's just, it's a whole different community. You leave one community and you go to another one. You go to one that you're more confined in versus one that you're leaving. You can come and go anytime you want to, home, and then you come to where I have to stay in school 8 hours. I don't want to be here. I heard, and I'm done, I heard a young lady say yesterday on the, on one of the Zoom meetings I had, and she talked about having the different, some kids, school is for some kids, and it is not for all kids. So, and I thought about that for a second. I said, you know what, she has a really valid point. Homeschooling is for some. The schools where they go in and they learn how to work on mechanical things, technology things, make furniture with their hands. What is that called?
Like a technical school?
Technical school. That's one that many people will do well. And you'll never have an issue out of them. And I believe that because they're not caught in the hustle and bustle trying to learn something they're not interested in, such as math. Everybody needs it, but they can learn that math, the math that they need to learn in the technical school, the technical way that they will use it. I think it's, when she said it, I'm like, you know what? You may not realize what you just said. And I don't think she did.
Well, and our schools here in Guilford County really have put a lot of thought and work into having a lot of different options for a lot of different students, different learning styles, and different pathways that they're interested in as they grow into adults. So we've got schools that have livestock that they raise over the course of the year that's part of their coursework. We've got schools that have full automotive repair bays. I even heard about a program that they're working with to do work actually at the schools as part of course credit to teach them practical skills that are just as important in terms of programs for our students as the college track programs, because we want to make sure our kids are successful and are stepping into those roles that we need them to be stepping into to keep our community safe.
Yeah. Captain Triche, I want to say thank you very much for your awesome service.
Thanks, sir.
And your leadership and direction that you've taken our school resource unit and with you and Sergeant Fee. I just, when I call Sergeant Fee now, I just think of how good of a woman she is, a great woman. The men and women that are serving out there in these schools, they are deputy sheriffs. They are mentors. They are foster parents per se. You know, they're there for the kids. They're best friends. They, you know, and those are things that, you know, the teaching and the camaraderie is having been able to sit down and talk with them and make sure we keep everything in the perspective that we need to. But I want to say I can't thank you all enough for what you do, and we look forward. You know, we pray another safe year, you know, going through 24, 25, and do what we need to get done.
Sheriff, if you don't mind, I'd like to share the Say Something website with the community so they have a place that if they don't feel comfortable going to an SRO or school staff member or calling law enforcement about, they've still got a way to make sure we're aware of any threats or concerning statements or posts in our schools.
I think that'd be great. Matter of fact, not only will we share it, you can share it here, but we will have them to share it on the social media throughout every day. So it's on our website, and then we can get it posted out there. So yeah, I think that's a phenomenon.
That'd be perfect. That website is www.p3campus.com, and individuals can find it also just by Googling Say Something Anonymous Reporting.
Okay.
P3campus.com.
Okay, that sounds good.
Thank you so much, Sheriff.
Okay. This has been another segment of Coffee with the Sheriff. Our special guest has been no other than the one and only Captain N.Triche with the Guilford County Sheriff's Office. I want to thank you very much for taking your time out to come out and talk with us. And we hope that you would enjoy this segment. You have questions, do not hesitate to give us a call here at the Sheriff's Office, at the Guilford County Sheriff's Office. Thank you, and be blessed.